Okay guys, in this video we're going to talk about percents, fractions, and decimals. So the key thing that will work in any situation is this. Part over whole equals percent over 100. So no matter what problem you're solving, no matter what it is, you can analyze it with this criteria. So it's, for example, if you have a problem that says, what percent of 32 is 16? Okay. If you're not quite sure, you have a hard time remembering, like, when do I divide my numerator by my denominator, then multiply by 100, you know, I'm going to teach you all that, I promise. But if you have a hard time remembering those steps, if you use this model in setting this up, you won't have any trouble. So my part and my whole here, I can identify that by saying what percent of whatever comes after of is going to be your whole. So 32 is my whole, and 16 is my part. Well, it's telling me I'm going to solve for the percent, right? Because what percent, I don't know. So that's going to be my percent, and it's always out of 100. Okay? So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to say 16 times 100 is 1600. 32 times p is equal to 32p. Okay? Then you know I have to isolate p by dividing by 32. And then I have to divide 1600 by 32. And I'm going to get 50. Equals p. So the answer here is 50%. Okay? Now the other thing I could have done is taken 16 over 32. Now, if I reduce that to simplest form, I'm going to divide by 16 over 16, right? And I'll get 1/2. 1/2 is 50%. Or in my calculator, I can take 16 divided by 32. If I do that, I'm at 0.5. And then if I multiply that by 100, I will get 50%. Okay? So those are all ways that you can solve that problem. But I can't stress you enough how much part over whole equals percent over 100 comes in handy. What I'm going to do now, if I have 1/4 and I want to turn that into a decimal, in my calculator, I'm going to take 1 divided by 4, and if I do that, I'm going to get 0.25. Now, if I want to figure out what that is as a percentage, percents are out of 100, I'm going from a decimal to a percent now. That means I need to move 2 places to the right, which is 25%. If I have 0.75, that's 75 hundredths. I want to know what that is as a fraction. I'm just going to rewrite that as 75 over 100 because this is the hundredths place. Then I can reduce that to simplest form, okay? And I would do that by dividing by 25 over 25, right? 75 divided by 25 is 3. 100 divided by 25 is 4. 3/4 is what 0.75 is, 75 hundredths is as a fraction. Now, if I want to turn 75 hundredths into a percent, again, I'm going decimal to percent. I'm going to move 2 place values to the right. That's 75%, okay? Then, say I have 10%. I want to turn that into a decimal. I'm going from percent to decimal now. That means I'm going to move 2 place values to the left. So that's 0.1. That's 1/10. So as a fraction, that's 1 over 10, 1/10. Okay? So I hope that makes sense to you. What I find where kids get confused is when you get a problem like this where it asks you, 16 is what? Not that one, sorry. What I find where kids get confused, problems like this, where it says 34 is 15% of what number? Okay, now you're not sure here, right? You don't know what you're talking about as far as like what part, whole, percent, you know what I mean? Like it's difficult to analyze what that means. Do I divide here? Do I multiply? So what you have to look at here are the words. Now, that word of, we talked about that at the beginning of the video. What comes after of? Your whole does. So if I use part over whole equals percent over 100, this is my whole, 34 is my part, 15 is my percent, and that's always out of 100. So that's where I'm at. Now this is where I need to cross multiply it, because going from 34 to 15 is not friendly. So I can't just, multiply or divide by a number to get from 34 to 15 easily. So this is one where I need to cross multiply. So I'd say 34 times 100 is 3,400. And I'm going to set that equal to 15W. And then what I need to do to isolate W is to divide both sides here by 15. And if I take 3,400 and I divide that by 15, and, by all means, please use your calculator for problems like this, you're going to end up with 226 and 2/3 is equal to W. So W is equal to 226 and 2/3 for your answer. Okay. So that's just a quick percentage video for me. I have 2 more in this lesson for you to check out. And then there are lots of notes and anchor charts to review. But again, part over whole equals percent over 100. That will never fail you. And remember, of, whatever comes after of, is always going to be your whole. Okay, thanks.